My daughter raised her wine glass and smiled down the length of the Christmas table as if she were about to praise someone. Instead, she looked straight at me and said, "We're ashamed of you, Mom." Her laugh that followed was sharp and practiced. A few Holloways chuckled, not because they understood the joke, but because Leah had given them permission. I sat very still, letting the words land. I am Nora Calder, 64, old enough to know when humiliation isn't an accident. Leah's voice was bright on the surface and brittle underneath. She wanted the room to see me as small. She wanted them to see her as above me. Beside her, Marcus shifted in his chair. "Leah, come on," he murmured. "That's enough." She waved him off with a smile polished thin. "Relax. Mom knows I'm joking." But her eyes never left mine, and there was nothing playful in them. She was daring me to react, daring me to confirm the story she'd spun about the mother who didn't belong at this table. Their guests, wrapped in winter fabrics and quiet jewelry, watched, curious. They didn't know me. I could feel every heartbeat waiting. They knew the version of me Leah had curated to protect the image she protected. I placed my napkin carefully on the table and stood. "All right," I said softly. The room fell silent. Even the silverware stopped. Leah lifted her chin. "Mom, it was a joke. Sit down." I looked at her, not at the hair she forced into place every morning, not at the dress chosen to impress her mother-in-law, Margaret Holloway. I looked at the girl I'd raised alone, the girl who used to grip my hand crossing wet Portland streets, the girl who once cried when I left for late shifts. "I know what you told the Holloways about me," I said. Her smile vanished. Color drained from her face as if someone had opened a tap. Marcus's brows shot up. Margaret's fork paused halfway to her mouth. Leah's lips parted, but only a thin breath escaped. A tear gathered, clinging stubbornly to her lashes. I said nothing more. I didn't need to. The truth was already trembling in her throat, threatening to spill out in front of the people she most wanted to impress. I sat back down and folded my hands, letting the silence work. When Leah's tear slipped down her cheek, I saw the child she once was, the girl who clung to my coat at crosswalks, trusting I could stop every car. Her father, Evan, left when she was 4. After that, it was just us. I scrubbed offices at night and answered phones at a community clinic by day. Leah waited in the back room after school, handing me drawings. "I saved the best one for you, Mom." After nightmares, she'd whisper, "Can I sleep with you?" And I always lifted the blanket. The distance didn't arrive as a fight. It crept in through other people's eyes. Middle school kids snickered at my uniform. High school friends bragged about trips I couldn't pay for. Leah stopped introducing me to new classmates. At concerts, she watched the door when I walked in, hoping I'd stay invisible. One summer night, she said too casually, "Can you drop me off a block away? I don't want people thinking I can't drive yet." I agreed. Loving her mattered more than defending myself. Still, that was the first time I knew she had begun to hide me. After she married into the Holloways, hiding became strategy. At an early barbecue, I stepped onto their patio just as her voice drifted through the kitchen window. "Mom is sweet," she said, "but she's not presentable. I don't want people misreading who I am." "Understandable," Margaret replied. "We all protect our image." I froze. When Leah saw me, her smile snapped into place. "Mom, you scared me," she said too quickly. "Let's not make today awkward, okay?" From then on, invitations shifted. "It's really formal. It's mostly corporate people. You'd be bored." When Marcus suggested including me, she said, "She prefers staying home." Words I had never spoken. The week before Christmas, I watched my granddaughter Mina while Leah ran errands. She left her phone on the counter. It buzzed, screen lighting up. I didn't go looking. The message appeared on its own. "Don't worry, I'll manage. If she embarrasses us, I'll shut her down." A second line followed. "Might even be funny." A slow pressure tightened in my chest. While Mina toddled toward me with her doll, I understood. This wasn't nervousness. It was deliberate. When Leah came back, she scooped up her phone. "Please just follow my lead this year, Mom," she said. "The Holloways care a lot about presentation. I don't want tension." I nodded, though something inside me had stopped bending. Christmas dinner would not unfold the way Leah expected. By the time I arrived at the Holloways on Christmas evening, Leah had settled herself into a role. Her back was straight, her smile bright, her voice tuned for admiration. "Nora made it," she announced as I stepped into the dining room. "She likes to keep things simple." A soft ripple of polite amusement passed around the table. Margaret's eyebrows lifted, but she said nothing. I took my seat beside Marcus. He leaned toward me. "I'm glad you came," he whispered. Leah cut him a glance. "Mom never misses holidays. She doesn't have much else on her calendar." "That's not true," I said quietly. She laughed, brushing it away. "Oh, Mom, you know I'm teasing." Through dinner, the jabs kept coming. "Mom, you wore that same sweater last year, right? Tell them about your clinic job. It's adorable." "Careful with the gravy, Mom. The tablecloth is antique." Marcus set down his fork. "Leah, stop." "I'm just helping," she replied, not looking at him. Margaret turned to me. "Nora, your work at the clinic, that's volunteer, isn't it?" "It's paid work," I answered. She blinked. "Leah told us you volunteer because you can't keep up with longer hours at your age." Leah's face tightened. "I never said that." "You did, dear," Margaret said mildly. "At the luncheon." The air thinned. Marcus stared at Leah, a question forming he wasn't ready to voice. Pity flickered in Margaret's gaze when she glanced at me. Not cruelty, worse. She'd been taught to see me as something fragile and lesser. Dinner found an uneasy rhythm until Leah scraped back her chair. She rose, glass lifted, smile stretched too wide. "To family," she began, "and to keeping expectations low so no one gets disappointed." A few guests laughed uncertainly. She turned to me and her smile sharpened. "We're ashamed of you, Mom." Her loud, rehearsed laugh cut the silence. 2 guests joined, brittle and confused. I remained still. Marcus's jaw clenched. "Leah, enough," he said. "Relax," she replied. "Everyone knows Mom is harmless. She can take a joke." I stood. Chairs creaked, utensils stilled. Only her eyes moved, tracking me. "Leah," I said softly, "why are you embarrassed?" She stiffened. "I'm not. You're making this dramatic." I turned to Marcus. "You knew something," I said gently, "about what she's told you." His gaze dropped, shame clouding his face. That was all the answer I needed. I faced the table. "You want honesty tonight, Leah?" My voice stayed level. "Then let's tell the whole story." Her fingers tightened around the stem of her glass. She understood suddenly that I had stopped agreeing to be the joke. Leah's smile cracked. "This isn't the time," she said. "Sit down, Mom." "No," I answered. "You wanted honesty." I placed a thin folder on the table and opened it toward her. "Tell them who paid half your down payment," I said. "Tell them whose account covered the short months." On top were transfers from my account to hers, the largest labeled down payment support. Behind them, screenshots of her messages. I told Marcus my mom is a mess. They believe me. As long as they think she's unstable, I'll never be compared to her. Marcus stared at the pages. "You told me your mother was an alcoholic," he said slowly. "You said she barged in drunk, that she needed supervision." Leah shook her head, tears spilling. "I was scared," she whispered. "I didn't want anyone judging where I came from. I wanted them to respect me." "So you broke your mother to look taller," I said. She dropped into her chair. "I'm sorry," she sobbed. "Mom, I'm so sorry." The apology trembled in the air. Margaret spoke, her voice steady. "Leah, you let us look down on the woman who raised you," she said. "You let us treat her with pity." She turned to me. "Nora, we truly didn't know." "I know," I replied. "That's why I'm leaving." I took my coat from its hook. "Mom, please," Leah cried. Margaret caught her arm. "Let her go. You stay." I stepped outside into the cold. Weeks later, Marcus knocked on my door, a folder tucked under his arm. "I checked everything," he said. "Every transfer, every message matches. The family met. They've cut off the support Leah depended on until she apologizes. No more mortgage help, no monthly deposits." He hesitated. "They also asked me to invite you to next Christmas. They said you deserve to be there." A beat. "Leah won't be." 1 year later, I walked into the Holloway's dining room through the front door. An empty chair waited at the far end of the table. Margaret lifted her glass. "Nora, would you give the first toast?" I stood. Some people spend years being ashamed of the wrong person, I said, raising my glass. To truth, Marcus replied. To truth, the others echoed. Their voices rose together, and the weight I had carried for decades finally slipped away.